That is a gorgeous shot. The foliage changing up in the hills. Still a little bit of summer left in lower downtown Denver, however, as we have gathered on a Tuesday evening for the first of three as the St. Louis Cardinals come to town. The Rockies fresh off a very good four-game set against the LA Dodgers. They won 3 of 4. The Rocks come in 69 and 81. Well, the Cardinals loaded with talent, leading the NL Central by 6.5 games. Guys like J.D. Drew, Jim Edmonds, and Albert Pujols. But who leads this club all time at Coors Field? How about Eduardo Perez and Mike Matheny? A couple of names you probably wouldn't roll off your tongue as the leaders offensively in the Cardinals here in Denver. But that is the case. And good evening, everyone. With George Frazier, as always, I'm Drew Goodman. The Rockies and Cardinals get together again. It's been a long time, 5.5 months. They began the season against one another, and the Rockies took 2 of 3. And you know what? Believe it or not, as good as the Cardinals have been, the Rockies have always been just a notch better than the Cards over the years.
Well, I think it's because of the success they've had in this ballpark. They've won 8 out of 10 in this ballpark. You see the overall numbers. And then they go into St. Louis this year and win 2 of 3 against the Cardinals there. But tonight they got a guy on the hill named Chuck Finley, a guy that's been through the wars, a guy that Tony La Russa says, this is a young pitcher. I don't care what his age is. This guy can still throw the baseball. He likes to pitch in. And you got a bunch of young Rockies out in the field today that I think are going to give these guys fits.
Well, Chuck Finley has helped bolster a staff that has been decimated by injuries this year. He takes the baseball against a guy much younger than he. Aaron Cook goes for his 3rd big league win tonight against Chuck Finley. Come on back to 20th and Blake with us. Tonight's game on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Pennzoil, protection under the toughest driving conditions. By Dodge, get somewhere, grab life by the horns. By Rocky Mountain Harley Davidson, the future is not what it used to be. By Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light, cold down easy. And by Pizza Hut, the best pizzas under one roof. Mid-September, September 17th, game number 151 for the Colorado Rockies. They have 6 remaining on the home docket before closing the season with 6 on the road. Tony La Russa has drawn up this lineup for the NL Central leading Cardinals. Headed to the playoffs for the 3rd consecutive year, it appears. Miguel Cairo will be at second base. Fernando Vina, for personal reasons, not with the club tonight. Eduardo Perez in there in right field for J.D. Drew, who is with the club, nursing a sore knee. Jim Edmonds in center field. Albert Pujols, no sophomore slump for him. He'll battle back clean up than Scott Rowland, Tino Martinez, Edgar Renteria, Mike Matheny catching, and Chuck Finley on the hill, and strike one to begin the ball game. Aaron Cook against Miguel Cairo as Cook goes for his 3rd win, one down in Houston last time out.
Aaron Cook is a kid that is big advantage for him tonight in this ball game. The reason I say that, the Cardinals have not seen Aaron Cook. They don't know how hard he throws. They don't know the type of sinker he has. They don't realize what he can do with the breaking ball.
With the leather behind Mr. Cook tonight in the outfield left to right, Gabe Kapler. Jason Romano gets the start in center field, and Larry Walker in right. Zeal and Uribe, a familiar duo on the left side. Butler and Helton, a familiar duo on the right side. Sandy Alomar will catch Aaron Cook tonight. The Rockies tied for 9th in the National League in fielding. That must improve for the Rockies to improve in the near future. Stepping in, Eduardo Perez, son of Tony.
Has bounced around between the minor leagues and the big leagues throughout. Finally getting an opportunity with the St. Louis Cardinals on a consistent basis, and the numbers reflected from the power side. 9 doubles, 10 home runs, and 25 RBIs.
And Cook behind 2-0. Aaron Cook more and more comfortable with each start. And this is up the middle. Cut off again by Uribe. Similar looking play to the ball hit by Miguel Cairo, and 2 gone. One of the things that this guy brings to the table, Juan Uribe, is range, George.
An awful lot of range and a strong arm to go with it. All pluses.
Two gone. Jim Edmonds will step in. 26 home runs, 78 driven in, hitting .305. And fifth in the league, as you can see, against right-handed pitching at .326. Despite that, and here's why he's successful. I asked him earlier tonight, I said, are you satisfied with the numbers you've put up this year? And he said, no. He said, you're never satisfied. And he said, not even close. A lot of guys would take his numbers, however. And what a job he does defensively in center field. On the outside corner for a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. St. Louis leads the National League in September wins. They have 10 already in the month. 1 ahead of Atlanta and the New York Mets. But that's familiar for St. Louis. They've been a very good September team the last couple of years. In fact, 27-9 if you include September 2001 for Tony La Russa. That's out of the zone, and now it is 3 balls and a strike. La Russa has been to the playoffs with 3 different clubs.
I thought it was interesting a year ago that La Russa even considered leaving the Cardinals because he had not won a World Championship, and he understands the fans' appreciation in St. Louis for what he has accomplished as a manager, but yet they had not gotten to the World Series.
"25 years in this business at the major league level is something else, and next year he'll go over 2,000 wins undoubtedly. Here's Albert Pujols. Look at those gorgeous numbers he brings to the plate. And his rookie year, when he was Rookie of the Year, he hit .329 with 37 home runs and 130 driven in, a unanimous Rookie of the Year selection. He hit .342 last year against right-handed pitching. This guy is freaky good. And he's all of 22. And this ball is attacked deep left center field. It's got a chance way back, and it'll one-hop the wall. Edmonds around third. He'll score as the throw does come to the plate on an RBI double off the bat of Albert Pujols. He made a little adjustment. The ball was running in on him, George. He brought the hands tight to the body and still got the fat part of the bat on it.
He's a guy that knows how to hit. I mean, that's all there is to it. He knows how to swing the bat, and he can make adjustments. That's why he has 116 RBIs. This is a ball in on his fist. He just fights it off. He is a strong, strong man. Out into the gap in the left center field. Of course, Edmonds with very good speed. 2 outs. Edmonds with a slow start at first. He better realize about right now he's headed to the house. The kicker sends him there. It's a 1-0 ball game after the double. Again, 2-out walk. Comes back to haunt the opposition, or it should say haunt Aaron Cook. Snagged by Alomar.
And now with the readjusted lineup of St. Louis, the pickup of the former Philly Scott Rowland. You have Rowland in the 5-hole. And again, they're playing without Vigna. He's a very good offensive player, and without J.D. Drew tonight. Rowland has fit in quite nicely. Here's a strike. Well, among National Leaguers offensively, he's right at the top of just about every offensive list. Big lead for Pujols, and this ball is hit high and deep left center field. Going back, Romano, and he is run out of room. A 2-run shot off the bat of Scott Rowland, his 25th of the year. And with 2 outs, St. Louis has jumped on Aaron Cook here in the first. They're up 3-0.
What an addition it has been for Scott Rowland to come to the St. Louis Cardinals in a pickup. And The guy pitching tonight's another great pickup. Not afraid to make a move when you're in the middle of a title hunt. Slider down and away.
Deep left center field, going back.
Out over the head of Romano and into center field.
Tino Martinez, the longtime Yankee, looks at ball one. Now, Rolen will be a free agent at the end of the year. If you follow St. Louis, they generally speaking sign the free agents they want to keep
for less money because of the city, the way they engulf the players that come there. That's the one thing McGuire said. They take less money to stay in that city because it is such a baseball-oriented city, and they win baseball games. That is a big part of it. An opportunity, you know, you're going to have a chance to get to the playoffs every year. Now, one thing you got to take into account a little bit for Cook, I think. The ball hit by Rolen was a slider just hung up in the strike zone a little bit long. The ball hit into the gap by Pujols was a fastball up in the strike zone. This kid's throwing 192 innings total now on the year, more than he has any other point of his career. And you wonder if the tired arm starts to have an effect, because typically with sinker ball guys, when the arm gets tired, you don't finish. When you don't finish, you don't have the good drive down, and 2 walks in an inning, something he hasn't done all year.
And now here comes, as you would probably suspect, Jim Wright, the pitching coach. 4 straight have reached with 2 outs against Aaron Cook. Well, one thing's almost for sure, and that is that in the final 12 days of this season, Aaron Cook, scheduled probably to have 2 more starts after this one, won't pitch a grand total of more than 18 innings, because if he goes above 18 2/3, he would pitch more than 50 innings this year. And Clint Hurdle wants to preserve his rookie season in its entirety for next year.
2 things you take into account: 45 days in the big league, or 50 days in the big leagues, 50 innings in the big leagues. He's all right on the days, but you don't want to get too many innings on the kid. First of all, he's throwing a lot of innings during the year, and you want to take care of this arm as much as the Chicago Cubs are taking care of Mark Pryor. Drew and I have talked about this in the past. Cook was rated above Pryor at the AA level this year earlier by major league scouts. The results have not been the same.
Hit hard right at Butler, beats it down off his chest like a third baseman and throws out Renteria. In the inning, St. Louis picks up 3. 2 coming around on this 2-run shot by Scott Rolen. Scott Rolen, a nice little addition for the St. Louis Cardinals, and he is feeling more and more comfortable. Must have felt comfortable in that first at bat. He left the yard. 3-0 St. Louis. The Rockies, an uphill climb tonight, and they'll go with this lineup: Jason Romano in center field, Gabe Kapler in left, Todd Helton batting in the 3-hole again. He's flip-flopped with Walker the last few days. Then Walker 4, Zeal 5. Butler will bat in the 6-hole, then Sandy Alomar, Juan Uribe, and Aaron Cook. Chuck Finley will have this defense behind him tonight. Albert Pujols, who played virtually everywhere last year, has been a fixture in left field this year. Jim Edmonds and Eduardo Perez in the outfield. Rolen at third. Edgar Renteria having a good year. He's the shortstop. Miguel Cairo at second tonight. Tino Martinez at first. Mike Matheny is behind the plate. 39-year-old Chuck Finley, who had not pitched in the National League till about a month ago, is a starting pitcher now for the St. Louis Cardinals.
What makes him effective, I think, is a veteran guy, is he's not afraid to pitch into right-handers. He's not a guy that's afraid to change speeds. He's pitched well here in this ballpark. Still a very good fastball, 88 to 92 miles an hour. Used to be a guy 94, 95. But if you look at the innings pitched for Finley coming into this season, over 3,000 innings pitched for Chuck Finley at the big league level. That's a lot of bullets out of an arm. But Finley's still very productive.
5-4 with a 4.07 ERA in a Cards uniform. Didn't get a lot of run support in Cleveland this year. He was 4-11. Of his 13 road decisions this year, he has won just 3 of them. But he has a nice little advantage coming over to the National League for the first time, where most players have not seen him.
Well, the reason Cleveland got him, quite frankly, was because of his overall record, 23 wins against the New York Yankees. And as they tried to plan and set themselves up for a playoff picture against the New York Yankees, they wanted Finley to be a big part of that. .198.73 in his career. 385 earned run average. Started 464 ball games. 63 complete ball games in his career. Impressive numbers.
Jim Edmonds in center field will settle underneath for the first out as he carries on a conversation with Eduardo Perez. He was chatting with Perez as he faded back on that ball. Gabe Kapler, who does have some experience with Chuck Finley, having played with the Texas Rangers.
And had success.
5 of 16 in his career against Finley.
I think with Kapler, you're going to see different stances. You're going to see different approaches to the plate, because even though that numbers look fantastic at 326, home run, 12 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, you're still tinkering with a guy that has a ton of power. And in this ballpark, he's a guy that could hit 20 to 25 home runs into this power. He has that kind of power. It's only going to take time till he finds himself back after all the injuries that he has suffered the last couple of years.
2 outs as Kapler flies to Edmonds as well. Todd Helton will step in. Well, one statistic that absolutely jumps off the page at you when you glance at the work of Chuck Finley since coming over from Cleveland is the fact that against left-handed hitters, he has given up only 3 hits. Lefties in the National League against Chuck Finley, 3 for 41. That computes to an .073 average. One of the 3 hits was a home run. So he has dominated left-handed bats. And the same was so pitching in the American League. Finley's never won 20 in a season, but he's won in the teens a number of times. 16, 18, 18, 16, 15, 16 again in 2000. Talking about the win totals for Finley. His next win will be number 199 in his career. 2-0 lifetime at Coors Field. 3-1 now on Todd Helton. Maybe one of the reasons, George, he has had success here at Coors is that he keeps the ball in the ballpark.
He stays out of the fat part of the plate. That's the key. He's corner to corner, and he's north and south, and when you do that, you're going to have success. I don't care if it's in Coors Field or where it is. And that's what he does very effectively. Typically not a guy that walks a lot of people in a ball game. He's usually around the strike zone. In 113 innings in 2001, he only walked 35. He struck out 96. With St. Louis this year, in 66 innings, he's only walked 26 and struck out 74. Good numbers. Always a 2-to-1 strikeout ratio. Typically hits less than innings pitched, as it has been for St. Louis, with 66 in the third, 56 hits.
Well, there's the 4th hit for a lefty this year off of Chuck Finley in the corner, and here's Helton with the green light. The throw from Renteria, there won't be one. He took a look, and as he cranked up, he elected not to throw. It's a run-scoring double for Larry Walker, and it's 3-1.
Now, Helton at first base, a lot of people don't realize that Helton does not have blazing speed, but he has the ability, the uncanny ability, to read the baseball and take gambles. Toby Harris sending him to the house only because he put himself in a position that he could make it to the house. Walker's 99th RBI.
You know, once he gets going, his speed isn't bad.
Well, option quarterback. 100 runs, 4 straight years in a row for Todd Helton.
99 RBIs also now for the guy at second base. Helton and Walker with the team lead at 99. Zeal's next will be number 80 as he looks at strike one from Finley. Zeal 3 for 12 in his career with a home run against Finley. Mike Helling, our producer, who was a mathematics major at the University of Kansas, pointing out, George, that 3 for 12 computes to a 250 average. And I mean, it was right off his tongue as soon as I said 3 for 12.
Well, Mike being a business major, and always a lot of math classes, and would exert himself in calculus, business statistics, and all those type of classes. I think that's why he probably threw that at you as fast as he did.
You're right.
Plus he has to work. At keeping score in a golf game. And those numbers are pretty high.
Well, you wonder what I need to work on that also.
No, you need a calculator.
Yeah, exactly. Back up the middle, redirected by Finley. And Cairo still able to throw out Todd Zeal. Rockies get one back in their half of the first. Helton walks, and Walker drives them in. 3-1 St. Louis through an inning. And we go to the top of the second inning, and speaking of guys who don't make that height requirement, here's Keith Blyer. Keith?
Yeah, there's a playground out here. How cool is that? I'm steering the SS Rocky. You're right, though. You have to be 4 feet or under, so I'm good, and Drew clears it by a foot. George would have a problem. Coming up after the game on the Rocky Mountain Sports Report, a one-on-one conversation with the one and only Todd Helton as we talk about the 2003 Rockies. And how about some hockey? The Avalanche versus the Avalanche, the burgundy and white scrimmage taking place as we speak. Also, what to do at CU, guys. There's a self-esteem issue with the football team up there in Boulder, and they may have to change their system completely to try to find another win. But I'll just be here playing and sliding and steering boats.
You know, it's amazing to me, Keith, in all seriousness, talking about the University of Colorado. How can a program that has recruited seemingly so well over the years and had a great run late last year not have a couple of bona fide
backup quarterbacks?
Yeah. And that's not taking a shot at Mr. Hodge, who came from the junior college ranks. Obviously, Colvin, things have never worked out for in terms of being competitive for the starting spot, but that is surprising. On Saturday was an embarrassment against Southern Cal. 3-1 on Mike Matheny. We will see you later on, Keith.
If I ever get down from here.
It's a long jump. I've made it myself with a parachute.
Take the slide, Keith.
I'll follow this young lady right here.
There you go. On the ground at Uribe, his third chance of the ball game.
Drew, I was watching to see what Alomar would do, because when you get a kid like this on the mound, is struggling a little bit to find the strike zone. He was 3-1 on Matheny. You forget about trying to hit the corners. You forget about trying to sink the baseball and cut the baseball. You try to sit up right in the middle of your plate and have him work there, because he's creating his own movement. You don't need to move around a lot. Keep the plate within your frame, because his movement will create outs on its own. On a 3-1 pitch, he gets Matheny on a ground ball to shortstop at 3-1.
Well, there's a couple of guys. One guy in the ballpark who no longer plays for the Rockies, and one guy who played the first half for the Rockies, who's now a New York Met. John Thompson and Jamie Wright, who's now working out of the bullpen with St. Louis. The book on those guys, they had so much movement on that two-seam fastball, George. Just as you said, they used to set up in the middle of the plate when they had control problems. Throw it over the middle of the plate. You'll hit the corner.
I told Jamie Wright one time, and Finley going to get a base hit, right at Uribe. I told Jamie Wright about 5 years ago, I said, tell you what I'll do. I'm going to have a catcher set up in the middle of the plate. You go to the bullpen and throw. And you throw sinkers. For every sinker you throw in the middle of the plate, I'll give you $100. And I'll bet you can't throw 1 out of 10 pitches because of his movement. It's not going to be there. And that's the same thing with Cookie. I think whenever Cook starts to struggle, then what he has to do is just focus to the center of the plate, because he's got tremendous movement on his fastball.
Miguel Cairo with 2 outs. Has done a very good job off the bench for Tony La Russa this year. In fact, he's second in the National League in pinch hits with 17. He's hit .309 in that role this year. Doug Flutie, the subject of Beyond the Glory on Sunday. And look at that. Baltimore chop over Zeal's head into left field for a 2-out base hit.
You look where Zeal is. He's up about even with the bag, and by doing that, it creates more of an opportunity for the ball to get out of that home plate area and out over the head of Todd Zeal. 2-out hit. Now, he had a 2-out walk in the first. That was to Jim Edmonds. And Pujols with the double, the home run by Roland. With 2 outs in this situation, go ahead and attack that strike zone and get after Perez.
Eduardo Perez, who steps in a few days ago, turned 33, the number on his helmet.
This guy that just has really persevered in the Cardinal organization, up and down, spent time in AAA, put up big numbers, but yet not ever get the opportunity at the big league level on a consistent basis. 30 hits on the year for Perez. 19 of those have been extra base hits. Anytime you see a young pitcher at this time of the year and the ball starts to ride up in the strike zone, a couple things happen. We talked about it, a tired arm. Or you're just flying too quick and rushing because you're upset so far because 3-1. To control those emotions and funnel it back in again right at Alomar and down in the strike zone. Velocity at 92 miles an hour on the last fastball. See, this is where you get success out of Cook, and where he's had success, Drew, in previous starts. He gets behind a hitter, but because of the movement on that sinking fastball at a good velocity, 91, 92, 93 miles an hour, he gets a lot of ground ball outs and gets out of innings. In one start he had at Coors, he had 90 pitches thrown, 45 strikes, 45 balls. That pitch not even close. You can see Alomar telling him to tuck that front shoulder and drive right at me.
3 balls and a strike on Eduardo Perez, the former Florida State star. 5th member of that great Big Red Machine team to have a son make it to the big leagues. Ball 4.
To emphasize even farther, Drew, what we're talking about Cook, so far this season at the big league level, 61 ground ball outs, just 22 fly ball outs coming into this game. 4 ground ball outs so far and 1 fly out tonight in the ball game.
Dirty walk 3. This is where the problems happened in the first inning with 2 outs. Jim Edmonds walked with 2 outs in the first, and Pujols doubled him in, and then Scott Rowland followed that up with a 2-run homer.
Most walks in a single game this year for Cook in a ballgame, 4, and that came against San Francisco. In 6 innings, he gave up 9 hits, 3 runs. He walked 4, didn't strike out about it. Jim Wright out to visit with Mr. Cook one more time. One thing, the Rockies, even had an off day yesterday with the bullpen being extended, a 16-3 loss to the Dodgers, and then Nagel having to leave because of the elbow problem. They need some innings out of a starting pitcher tonight.
Bullpen did a great job Sunday.
Outstanding job.
And Jimenez, a 2-inning save. getting 40 grand style.
This is a veteran ball club. You look, Drew, around the National League of clubs that are having success leading their division. Now, with the exception of Houston, that's in the wild card race, they're relying on a lot of young pitchers, but they have veteran players. This ball club has veteran players and veteran pitchers, and a bullpen that's been very successful. They've been able to plug, when they have an injury, they're able to plug that gap. And it may take two guys to do it, but they're able to plug the gaps and be able to still maintain the level of play that they expect. But they haven't lost Jim Edmonds for a long period of time. They haven't lost Pujols for a long period of time. The two big RBIs and the two big guns in their lineup.
Nope, that they have started 14 different pitchers this year. And talking about a veteran club, when they broke camp, Edmonds swings through that 2-2. When they broke camp, they did not have a rookie on their roster. When they took on the Rockies at the beginning of April at Busch Stadium, they did not have a rookie on the 25-man roster.
Well, the opposition hitting just .207 against Cook with runners in scoring position.
Cook's velocity down a little bit tonight. Down in Houston, he seemed to be working more around 94 miles an hour or so. Tonight, it's closer to 90.
And that's somewhat of a rarity because you get guys at 94, 95. They don't have the great sinker that Cook has. I mean, this is something that the guys don't possess. Jamie Wright had it. Of course, another guy that's injured right now will finish the rest of the year. Kevin Brown has a great sinker with a lot of velocity. And typically, guys get to that 94, 95, 96 range. It's a four-seam fastball, a straight ball, versus the sinking fastball.
Runners going, popped up left side, foul ground, Zeal. And we'll do it again. St. Louis comes in with a record of 86-63. Last year they went 93-69 in tying with Houston for the top spot in the NL Central. They lost to Arizona in the divisional playoffs 3-2 in that best of 5. And it looks like they'll match up with the Diamondbacks again. Bases are loaded. And Albert Pujols coming up, not the guy you want to see. And right now, Aaron Cook can't find the command on his fastball.
Those aren't the type of numbers, if you're Aaron Cook, that you want to see with the bases loaded. A .462 average, 3 home runs. 40 RBIs with the bases loaded in a year and a half, or a year and 3/4 now in the big leagues. So many people kept saying through the year, well, we'll find his hole. And we're going to find an area that he can't handle the baseball in. They've yet to find that. And a minute ago, he fought that pitch off on the inside half. And this is a strong, strong kid.
This is a slow roller. Zeal cuts it off and will make the play at first. Big out there with the bases loaded. And the score remains 3-1. What does Keith Flyer do when he recreates? Well, there you have it. Utilizes the kids' playground at Coors Field. 3-1 Cards. Chuck Finley ready to go to work here in the bottom of the second inning. The Rockies with a run in the first, 3 for the Cardinals in the first. With George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. Brent Butler had a 2-run home run in Sunday's win against the Dodgers, and he swings at the first offering, and Edgar Renteria nearly throws too high for Tino Martinez, but Martinez able to reach up and grab it. 1 gone, and we tell you about The new NFL pregame show on Fox Sports Net. It stars Michael Irvin, Tony Siragusa, and comedian Tommy Davidson. And pregame shows may never be the same. So start your NFL weekend the night before kickoff with the NFL show presented by the U.S. Postal Service on Fox Sports Net. 11:45 p.m. Saturday night or 8:30 in the morning on Sunday. Sandy Alomar looks at ball one. I still haven't checked that out. I want to see that show. Siragusa is a funny guy.
I watched him on the Best Damn Sports Show the other morning. He was on promo and everything. Of course, Michael Irvin's on all the time.
Yeah, Michael Irvin's on all the time. He does a good job. And Tommy Davidson I've seen before, and you know that he's funny because, George, he's a comedian.
Sometimes.
Right. Well, most, you know, you got to figure every once in a while, even if you carry the title of comedian, you got to have to be able to turn a joke once in a while that puts a smile on somebody's face. 2 ground outs to short, 2 gone. A rebate coming up. Tonight's game on Fox Sports Net brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And by Team Lending. They get the job done for you. Big curveball for a strike from Chuck Finley. So many very good years with the Angels. Broke into the big leagues in the second half of the 1986 season. His 16th major league campaign.
On the run support early by the St. Louis Cardinals, and when they score first in a game, Drew, 39 games over 500. Now you say, well, all ball clubs are like that. The Rockies 25 over at 47 and 22. St. Louis at 56 and 17. They've given Chuck Finley a 3-1 lead early in this ball game.
Tell you what the good clubs are. They're good front runners, but the good clubs also, you watch how many games they came from behind when they were down in the 6th inning. And generally speaking, it's far more than the teams that are in the bottom half of divisions. 1-2-3 inning, 3 ground outs for Chuck Finley. 3-1 the Cardinals lead as we head to the 3rd inning at Coors Field. Darryl Kyle, remembered by his former teammates with the Rockies. That baseball has been up since Kyle's passing a couple of months ago. It's been a long and rough season for this organization, talking about the Cardinals. And yet here they are, 6.5 games up in the National League Central. And one thing Tony La Russa says when asked about the subject, he says, we don't want to forget. We don't want to put that behind us. We want Darryl Kyle's memory front and center. His locker remains unchanged at Busch Stadium. They bring his equipment with them on the road.
Well, it's very difficult for what they've been through with Jack Buck, longtime Cardinal broadcaster in his passing. Jim Thome, a front office executive that had been there forever, passed away in spring training. And then for Darryl Kyle, Enos Slaughter, what they have gone through, and yet maintain. But you know, it gives you a motivation to win for Darryl Kyle, Jack Buck, Enos Slaughter, Jim Thome.
Roland hits it hard to center field. Romano will cut it off, and it's a hard single for Roland, who's 2 for 2.
Well, this is the area that Cook needs to work on for him to have success. And today it just seems like, you know, look at Sandy. Sandy's got that ball down. He wants a target right along this knee area for Cook to be successful. And when he gets the ball up into this area, the ball flattens out. It doesn't have nearly as much sink.
Cook goes to his slider for a strike against Tino Martinez, a guy he walked his first time up. Solid numbers in the month of September for Tino Martinez. Zeal will have one play. That's on Martinez at first. Rolen goes to second. Best damn sports show period coming your way later on tonight. The Gramatica brothers will be on. I hope nobody tears their ACL tonight. Robert Edwards, not a Dolphins quarterback. How about a Dolphins running back? What a great story that is. Robert Edwards almost lost his leg after a freak injury at the Pro Bowl a few years ago. Couldn't make the New England Patriots when he came back, but now he's made the Miami Dolphins, and he's playing well. Remember that? He was playing in the Pro Bowl in the sand. They have one of those you know, pickup football games that they probably televise also as part of the festivities of Pro Bowl week. And he hurts his knee so badly that at one point they considered amputating it.
But they've worked this so many times, and what's happened, they're allowing Rolen to get such a deep lead at second base. It allows Uribe to pull that off. And the way you set that up is your second baseman pats the glove, make a couple of steps towards you, back off to his position, and then you allow the shortstop to drop in behind. And with a perfect throw by Cook, you may have had a closer play at second base.
Slider hung a little bit, but still in the zone. Renteria didn't pull the trigger. 0-2. Edgar hit 260 last year. Hit too many fly balls by his own admission a year ago. This year he's hitting down on the baseball and comes in with that 304 average. He's going to get over the Rockies dugout out of play. And talking to some of the Cardinals, many believe that Renteria would get a lot of MVP votes in the Cardinals clubhouse this year. He's been that steady.
Many of those guys had said, yes, this is our MVP of our ball club. You might think Pujols, you may think of what Edmonds has been able to perform in center field, but Renteria in the ball game, 500 at bats, 508 at bats so far, 74 RBIs by a shortstop, a huge number.
Oh-2, hard on the ground, and that's going to get through. Here comes Rolen around third. Walker's throw to the plate. A little bit late. And Renteria with 2 outs, or excuse me, with 2 strikes, delivers the other way. His 75th RBI. And the lead back to 3 for the Cardinals.
Just going with the pitch, too. Alomar sets up on that outside half. He fights it off to move the runner over, and it ends up even better than that. The base hit to right. Walker with the throw. 2 hops in. I think with the throw and the elevation of the throw from Walker in the thick grass, it just got cut up. Rolen can read this beautifully. Then he works on picking up Oquendo on his way to the plate. So many guys we see, Drew, running the bases will turn their heads back to see where the ball is, see what the play is. Fundamentally sound. Rolen picking up Oquendo and then taking advantage of it.
So Rolen has scored a couple of runs. Mike Matheny fouls it off. Matheny, a terrific defensive catcher. The catchers that St. Louis have, for the most part, are very athletic. Matheny, Eli Marrero, who can catch and play center field. That's a rare combination.
Well, it was almost the everyday catcher. You look back 3 years ago, 2 years ago, he was catching every day till Matheny came up and over to the Cardinals and performed so well. Won a Gold Glove. And a lot of people attribute to the Cardinals' failures in the playoff last year for him not being in the lineup because he cut his finger getting into a box and couldn't catch because of the way he handled the pitching staff. And Mike DeFelice, another young catcher, is fit prominently into their rotation of catchers, if it would be a proper way to say that. I mean, because you think Matheny's a Gold Glove guy, yet on opening day DeFelice started. Matheny did not. Well, for Rockies fans, September are full of deals at your local Rockies dugout stores. Every $25 purchase, you will receive 4 free tickets to any remaining home game with the exclusion of September 20th. Also, while supplies last, with a purchase of $150, you receive a Todd Helton autographed baseball. Great deals, great clothes, great prices. 303-832-TEAM for more information.
One and two on Mike Matheny. Hitting in the 8th spot tonight. 4-1 St. Louis. They've out-hit the Rockies 5-1. We're in the top of the 3rd inning. St. Louis began the 2001 season here in Colorado, and they were swept out of town. Then the Rockies began this year in St. Louis, and they took 2 of 3 from the Cardinals. Ball is dropped, but the out call was made by Mike DeMuro. So the Rockies get the force at second, and Matheny at first.
I think it's a correct call. You can see, I mean, Uribe's starting to pull it out of the glove as it gets over to second base. Here he's got it in the mitt and the exchange coming out. Concentration had the hand too deep into the glove, the ball out on the end of the glove. He started to make the exchange, the ball just pops out. Trying to get rid of it in a hurry too. I mean, Renteria was bearing down on him. Good opportunity. They might have escaped though, because Matheny doesn't run that way, as most catchers don't. There's only a couple in baseball that do. LaDuca in LA, Kendall in Pittsburgh. Matheny with 4 attempted stolen bases. He's been caught 3 times. By the way, Renteria, you know, you're bragging about the numbers and the MVP numbers he's put up as far as what the Cardinals think of his performance. He leads all National League shortstops in batting average at 304, and he leads all National League shortstops with RBIs now with 75.
His career high 76, set in 2000. 2-1 on Chuck Finley. This is not a guy you want to give up a hit to. Chuck Finley has 2 hits in his career, and of course he played in the American League forever. He's 2 for 26 with the Cardinals. 2 for 47 in his major league career. So before the trade in interleague play, he had never come up with a base hit. Got his first career RBI this year. And you know what? He has his 3rd career hit. See, the moment you start talking about a guy's failures at something, they prove you wrong.
Typically the way it happens. He's got an earbug. Well, so far, Jared, it's Cook's night. Everything's been up in the strike zone. He's walked 4 in the ball game. A lot of 3-1, 3-2 counts, something not typical of Cook, a guy that works ahead. But again, anytime you face a veteran ball club, you're going to see patient hitters at the plate.
Well, he has not been able to command his fastball, not even close. He's missed with it, and he's missed with it in the zone. So he's wild out of the zone, wild in the zone. He's going to get out of this jam. Miguel Cairo flies out to Kapler. 1 run does come across on the Renteria hit. He drove in Scott Rowland, and the Cards lead it 4-1. 68 pitches in 3 innings for Cook. Louis leading Colorado 4-1. With George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. Edgar Renteria with 75 RBIs now in 2002. We check our Dodge this date in history. We go back to September 17, 1996, in the thin air of Denver. Hideo Nomo, no hits, Colorado 9-0. He did walk 4, and he struck out 8. That was something I don't think many people thought would ever happen in the rarefied air of Denver. This goes to show you, you know what? If you bring good stuff, you will be rewarded. And though no one has thrown a no-hitter here since, when you have good stuff, you win. Just like in Los Angeles or Phoenix or New York or St. Louis. Aaron Cook looks at strike 1. Cook at an even 100. His first major league hit and RBI in his last start at Houston. Caller, stop by your neighborhood Pizza Hut and get a large specialty pizza, meat lovers, veggie lovers, or supreme, for example. And you also get a medium one-topping pizza for only 99 cents. One large pizza for the adults, a medium pizza for the kids, only at Pizza Hut. Good swing from Aaron Cook. 2 balls and 2 strikes against Chuck Finley. Here's a great example of a veteran shortstop, a guy who's aware of who hit the baseball. Edgar Renteria played the 4th hop instead of charging up. If that ball's hit by somebody with decent speed, he's going to charge, glove with one hand, and throw in one motion. But he knew he could sit back on that.
Well, a lot of guys
make
do
a
things.
Safer play.
A lot of guys do things fundamentally sound. Some guys rush things and let the hand drop and get beside the baseball instead of staying behind the baseball. And obviously, I think the more years that Uribe gets into this league, the more success he will have.
Speed of Romano nearly made that a base hit. Martinez rushed the fielding portion of that play, but kind of kicked it in the direction of Romano, was able to pick it up and tag in the same motion.
Yeah, it's just an ugly play all the way around by Martinez. I mean, you get to the baseball, you got to catch it first before you can tag him. I thought Romano may have gotten around him and there was not a tag there, but obviously they see things a little bit different. Jerry Lane at first base making the call. Wasn't a tag of play.
Do you know what, though?
Why is that out of the baseline? Now, he's pointing like he's out of the baseline. He's not out of the baseline.
Jerry Lane, yeah, indicated he was out before Martinez touched the bag. He did not touch him. And it was unclear whether, I couldn't tell if Lane was saying he touched him. That's what I thought he was saying. You thought he was saying he was out of the baseline?
I didn't know which way he was pointing, but he sure wasn't out of the baseline getting there.
That doesn't matter. Kapler with 2 outs. 1-1. Call has been made. It will not be reversed. Now they won't throw a red hanky out there and send it upstairs for review.
I don't think that'll happen.
No.
There's been one time in the past 10 years that an umpire walked over to have a review of a home run, and he got in a lot of trouble for doing it. Frank Foley was working in Florida. Florida's deceptive down the line. And Frank Foley said, replay it. I want to see if it went out of the ballpark in fair territory. He caught a little trouble for making that motion.
Scott Rowland throws out Gabe Kapler. 7 in a row set down now by Chuck Finley. There's 3 searching for Lambeau Field. They've come across Coors Field and said, what the heck, we'll catch a baseball
wait a minute.
game.
No, wait a minute.
Why?
Wait just a second. Where's Green Bay play this weekend? Are they on the West Coast? Where are they? They might be heading west.
The Buffalo Bills play here next weekend, not the Green Bay
No,
Packers.
but you're heading west. There is more football teams other than just in Denver. I mean, they have a few in L.A. and
Susan Long,
Oakland, I should say.
Would you please do us a huge favor in the truck and find out where Green Bay plays next week? They're at Detroit.
These guys are really lost.
They're very lost, George. Thank you.
They have got some problems.
Yes,
they read the road map upside down, I think.
Evidently. Maybe there's other problems as well. It's time for Email the Booth. Submit your questions to me and George by going to foxsports.com on Lycos. Keyword Rockies Booth. This pitch is popped up. Short center field. Uribe going out, squares up to the infield and makes the catch. Again, if you want to email us, foxsports.com on Lycos. The keywords Rockies Booth, and we'll try to get to as many of your questions as we can tonight. It's a feature we really enjoy here on Fox Sports Net. Getting an opportunity to interact with you at home while you take in the ball game. One gone. Jim Edmonds steps in. Edmonds last year, 304, 30 home runs, 110 RBIs. Won't reach that RBI level this year. The average home runs pretty similar. If he keeps that average over 300, it'll be the 4th time in his 10-year big league career that he has hit over 300. This is a good two-way baseball player.
Seems like every night he makes the highlight reel of every sports telecast with his over-the-shoulder catches, his dives, and occasionally his home runs and RBIs that he drives in. When he came to St. Louis, I don't think he realized how big a baseball city that was and its backing of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Magic number for the Cardinals, 7. As Edmonds looks at a 2-2 pitch. Short one hopper. At Brent Butler. Well, speaking of the postseason, this October will be filled with spellbound days and mystical nights as sports' biggest month comes to Fox. Baseball's division series kicks off with up to 125 hours of October's magical matchups, thrilling NFL showdowns, and exciting baseball playoff action. No other network will broadcast more sports in a single month this year. The magical matchups begin October 1 only on Fox. Curveball for a strike to Pujols. Aaron Cook could really be behind in this game had he not got Pujols to roll to Todd Zia with the bases loaded in the 2nd inning. And a slider for strike 2.
Two straight off-speed pitches, one at 76, one at 79. Now it really sets up the 92, 93 fastball if you put it in a position that you want it in. Right now, the off-speed stuff, you get Cardinal hitters reaching for the baseball. That's good.
Yep. You know, one of the reasons, there's a number of reasons Albert Pujols is so good. First of all, he's extremely talented. Second of all, he has an unbelievable work ethic. And third of all, he remains very, very humble. This is punched to center field. Romano will cruise in and make the catch. Good inning for Aaron Cook in the 4th. The first time he sets the Cardinals down in order. And he gets Perez, Edmonds, and Pujols in the process. 4-1 St. Louis. Tonight's game on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Pennzoil protection under the toughest driving conditions. By Geico Direct, a sensible alternative. And by Mountain States RV.
Todd Helton comes to the plate here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. And we got our first email. Rusty from Denver would like to know why Walt Weiss is in the dugout, not on the coaching staff. And what's the deal with number 77? Walt Weiss is obviously Dan McGinn, the equipment manager, gave Walt number 77. Walt had commitments through the course of this year during the summer that didn't allow Walt to travel with the ball club, but is dressed every day on the home side and works with the middle infielders on double play turns, ground ball positioning, different things of that nature, and is a huge asset, I think, to Clint Hurdle's coaching staff.
Well, just as you always wanted him on your side when he was still playing the game, you want him on your side as a coach. Walt Weiss, a terrific person, an outstanding teacher, and a guy who got absolutely every ounce out of his ability. He had a terrific big league career. Helton hits it hard. Renteria on the backhand side will throw out Todd Helton.
After giving up the run in the 1st inning on a walk to Helton, a double by Larry Walker. There's yet to be another man to reach base.
10 in a row set down.
Did I count wrong? How about 8
I was getting ready to say, did I miss an inning?
Yeah, I counted wrong. 8 in a row.
Should have gone to the math major, Mike Kelly.
Yeah. That's where I had for all of my...
Hey, you know what? I don't know about
problem.
you, but every time his phone rings, you got to hear the Kansas fight song. You know what? I think I'm getting ready to fix that.
Well, looking at Kansas in football this year, I'm surprised they call it a fight song.
I would agree.
Actually, I wish Mark Mangino all the best. I doubt he's looking in. I'm sure he's studying film, but I think Mark's going to get things turned around there. The new head coach at the University of Kansas. 2 balls and a strike on Larry Walker. In the air, Pujols will get there. That was fine. I asked Pujols earlier, I said, where do you prefer playing? He said, it doesn't matter. He goes wherever Tony wants me. I mean, this is a guy that just loves to play. There's no attitude at all. He played 35 games last year, at least 35 at third, left, right, at first base, and still had one of the best rookie years in the history of the game.
Tony is a guy that loves matchups, and he will match up his lineup to that day's starting pitcher. So that's why you saw so much movement out of Pujols in different positions, because Tony's trying to plug where he wants this guy because he may hit the opposition. And Pujols is such a good athlete that he can do those things. He's a rarity in baseball. We hope the desire and passion stays with him.
Those who know,
he could put up huge career numbers when it's all said and done.
Yeah, because he is only 22, and you're right. And the people who know him well say that's never going to be a problem. He is a very polite, hard-working kid, as we were talking about last inning. 2-1 on Todd Zeile. See how when Pujols shakes your hand, he envelops half your arm. He's a big, strong kid. Three and one. I asked him if he ever had designs of playing high school football, because he's from the Dominican Republic, but he had family members, including his father, who had moved to Kansas City. So his final 2 years of high school was spent in the States, in the Kansas City area. And he said the coach always tried to get him to go out for football because he could really run, but he kept it on the baseball diamond and the basketball court, where he was the high school point guard. Base hit for Todd Zeile on a 3-1 delivery. With 2 outs, Zeile aboard. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies Baseball Club and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions for this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies Baseball Club. Finley will take a look at Zeile with Butler at the plate. Rockies down 3 runs. Butler toward Rowland. He'll go the short way to Cairo. And another strong inning for Chuck Finley, with a little help from left fielder with an unbelievable future, Albert Pujols. 4-1 St. Louis.
Well, 4-1 St. Louis right now, and the guy doing a lot of the damage, Scott Rowland. Rowland on the night, big home run back in the first inning, then a base hit in the third. Give you both looks. Here's a slider just hung out in the middle of the plate. Now they come back. That was on the home run. Now in a single in the third inning, they try to run it back in on his hands, and that ball ends up in the outfield for a base hit. Well, Aaron Cook's out of the ball game. He goes 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 runs. They were all earned. Did not strike out a batter, had 4 walks, and he'll turn it over to Fuentes, who has been outstanding in most recent outings for the Rockies, and it's because he's throwing strikes again. He's not walking people. And Drew, I think he's just starting to get his feet on the ground at the big league level and believing the fact that his stuff's good enough to get people out at the big league level. Struggled with confidence, struggled with control. His first 2 trips up here, and since then, have been pretty special.
And down the road, maybe not this year, and it's good for him to leave the ball game after having his best inning, if you will, and in throwing 80 pitches. But down the road, George, you're going to have to battle through ball games like this, where maybe you don't have your best stuff, your best location, your best command. And if you can keep your club in a ball game, that truly separates you from mediocrity, doesn't it?
Well, it gives you a chance to get some wins, too. I mean, you let them peck away, and all of a sudden you get pinch hit for it, then you go. I think that's the big key. It allows your offense an opportunity to catch up in a ball game. And it also allows right now that you give for Fuentes, and this is something where the Rockies have struggled this year, Drew, is being able to hold the opposition and allow the offense to get there. And that may be a huge chore against Chuck Finley tonight.
A ball and 2 strikes on Roland. A guy who admittedly pressed when he first came over from Philadelphia. But he's feeling more and more comfortable. Fouled it off. He settled right in. Instead of staying in a hotel, he immediately rented a house. Immersed himself in St. Louis, one of the great baseball towns in the big leagues. Fuentes reached back, fired that one 91 miles an hour. Missed, though. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Oh, that was flat nasty. That thing fell off the table.
Well, he took velocity off of the pitch, 68 miles an hour. And again, he's starting to get a feel for altitude. Exactly what he does here. He runs it as you would like to see left-handers against big power hitting right-handers. You want to back off of the pitch and you want to rotate it. You want it to end up right back in this area underneath that back leg, because he'll get out over the top of the baseball. If they contact, typically that ball's pulled foul. Fuentes in his last 15 games since the break, 355 earned run average. Quite a difference for Fuentes.
Oh, he's been a different pitcher. This is his 4th stint with the Rockies this year. Tino Martinez has not fared well against left-handed pitching this year. That's a strike. Martinez hit just 202 against lefties. Looks at ball 2, 2-1. Fouled off. You know, when the Yankees decided not to bring Martinez back and St. Louis jumped all over it and signed Martinez, I think around baseball, fans must have thought, well, Martinez is ancient. He's only 34.
Yeah, he's not old. He's not old at all. He came into New York, replaced Don Mattingly, basically. He's very steady at first base, but when Giambi shows up, he goes on. This guy knows how to win.
You would think he'd still have a lot of productive years left. He's productive on that swing and staying on the slider. Off the left-handed pitching Fuentes and lining it to right for a base hit. More football coming your way of the college variety. College Football Saturday presented by Kyocera returns to Fox Sports Net this week when number 17 North Carolina State battles the Red Raiders of Texas Tech in Lubbock. Then Fresno State will take on Oregon State, followed by Wyoming against number 13 Washington. Coverage begins Saturday with the College Football Saturday kickoff show at 9:30 in the morning Mountain Time right here on Fox Sports Net. Triple header on Fox Sports Net Saturday. So sit back, throw away the clicker, and live a sedentary lifestyle on Saturday. Red Torria, 305 average. One out, Martinez at first. Interesting move by Clint Hurdle, showing some confidence in Brian Fuentes. In the past, he's been a situational lefty, and he's given him the baseball to start an inning here where there was only really one left-handed bat coming up, and that was Martinez.
Well, and he looks down into it. You got to remember a couple of things too, Drew. He's been good against right-handers, and the fact is your bullpen's pretty wore out. I mean, they got stretched out a lot on the weekend. Now, Fuentes threw 68 pitches. You bring him into the game, it's 4-1. With his movement of the fastball away from the right-handers, it's difficult for hits. You saw what he did to Rowan with the breaking ball in. And he is throwing the ball extremely well right now. So the choices for long relief down in the bullpen. Corey Vance was activated and is on the roster. Out of Double-A.
Yeah, he was another one of those quality arms throwing in Double-A this year for the Rockies.
Well, you hear so much about Cook, you hear so much about Young. But this kid's not far behind either one of those. His numbers have increased and gotten better.
There is Corey Vance. Look, George can't even fully shave.
He's got a half a mirror.
Good pitch by Fuentes to Fan Renteria. 2 outs in the 5th. Both via the strikeout.
Up out of the strike zone, and look at the movement on the fastball. See, on the way out of the strike zone, but yet once he made the commitment, did not hold up at all on a ball up out of the strike zone.
Fuentes' 2 strikeouts this inning are it in the ball game for either team. Mike Matheny 0 for 2.
Turned and looked in the dugout like he said, where did that pitch come from? Picking the ball up out of the hand of Fuentes.
He does hide it pretty well.
The numbers this year on Corey Vance in Double-A, 10-8 with a 377 earned run average, threw 150 and a third, struck out 114, walked 76. Pretty productive year. 4th round draft pick in June of 2000 out of Georgia Tech. Another one.
If that program just keeps cranking them out.
Been on the All-Star team in 2001. In Salem again in 2002 in the Southern League. Starting to see and reap the benefits of the minor league system at the big league level.
Well, you are seeing some exciting prospects, and hopefully in the near term it results in more wins, obviously, for the Rockies, because that ultimately is how you're judged.
Yeah, I think early you look at places like Casper, you look at Tri-Cities, and Salem and Allure, you're trying to develop. But as you get to Double-A, you expect what happened this year. They won the first half with the top prospects before Young and Cook were advanced to the AAA level. And that's what you look for, that development that all of a sudden stirs into wins and win division championships, because winning breeds winning. And whether it's at Double-A, Triple-A, or in the big league level. Found it interesting today when Tony Russo made the comment. He said, you know, I know this sounds corny and nobody believes in it, but we have great character in our locker room. These guys like each other. They like to play baseball. And those are huge keys to success.
I asked Jim Edmonds earlier tonight, I said, did the passing of Darryl Kyle and Jack Buck bring you all closer together? And he said, we were already very, very close. As Brian Fuentes strikes out the side. An impressive inning for Fuentes in the top of the 5th. Now the Rockies will try to collect themselves with the bats. 4-1, they trail St. Louis. Fuentes fans rolling, Renteria and Matheny in the inning. Four to 1, St. Louis leading the Rockies. The Rockies have been held to 2 hits as we take a look at our Rocky Mountain Harley-Davidson American Legends Series. How many in the history of the game better than this right-hander? Bob Gibson, 68 National League MVP, won the Cy Young in 68 and 70. 7 straight World Series wins. Also played hoops for the Harlem Globetrotters. Out of Omaha, Nebraska.
You know, you always hear stories about Drysdale. This guy wasn't a nice guy on the mound either.
Oh.
Bob Gibson was mean. And I think that gain all the way through, obviously, tremendous pitcher in his time, but I think the character he took on when he took the mound every day when he started carried over to his teammates.
This is all you need to know. In 1968, he had a 1.12 ERA. Think about that.
1.12. Nobody's been close to that at all. I guess Martinez in Boston was the last to even come close to that.
I know Dwight Gooden in, was it 86, had a 1.53.
84 is 153 on run average. Gooden had one. Everybody talked about, can he get there?
Ortiz out on deck, and this ball hit deep to left field. Way back, Pujols at the edge of the track makes the play on a rebate. So Fuente is a very solid inning, and Jose Ortiz will pinch hit. By the way, Harley-Davidson is much a part of American history as baseball. Marry that to our Legends feature. Keep those emails coming tonight. Fox Sports. What is it? Fox Sports at Lycos? I always screw that up. .com.
Fox Sports.
Yes, go ahead.
Net at .com at Lycos. Am I close?
No, you butchered it too.
Well, I didn't butcher it as bad as you did.
I admit
give
I
me the
butchered
read.
it. I was looking at you for help.
Give
I
it
don't know
to
what
me.
I was thinking about.
Give me the read. Well, I don't have to.
Rocky's booth is the key word.
Yes.
You think we've done this
We've
before?
already
What
had
day
one.
is September
We're in
17th?
Denver talking about Walt Weiss. Well, Doug threw away the read, so it doesn't really matter.
Off the corner, 2-1 on Jose Ortiz. Shown a little more patience since he's returned to the big leagues. Glenn Hurdle wants to see him use the big part of the ballpark more frequently.
All right, Drew, you ready for this? FoxSports.com on Lycos. Keyword Rockies booth.
This ball's hit well. Edmonds won't catch up with it. That's using the big part of the ballpark. It'll be a double for Ortiz with 2 outs.
You're looking at the hack of Ortiz, a ball up in the strike zone. That's been somewhat rare for Finley on the night, and out over the head of Edmonds. Edmonds, a guy that typically does not play deep in the ballparks. Surprised not a little deeper here in this ballpark with the Ponderosa in left center field.
Ortiz may have surprised him with the pop. Ortiz, by the way, 6 of 17 since his recall. Jason Romano. Sounds like a character from Three's Company. Wasn't there Romano on that show, George? That was your favorite show.
That's a good-looking kid.
Yeah.
Probably get out on a TV set and have some fun. With his speed and ability, I think he'll stick around on a baseball field for a while.
I'll tell you a quick story, great story. There was a backup quarterback at the University of Texas a few years ago by the name of Marty Cherry. Texas wins a football game. And Cherry was in the game, I think, to put his knee down. He takes his helmet off. He's walking off. There's some talent scout in Los Angeles just watching the game. He had no rooting interest at all. He looks and he says, boy, that's a good-looking kid. He writes down the number. He calls the Texas athletic department the next day. Make a long story short, Marty Cherry gave up football and was a model within 3 months. Making 6 figures, traveling around Europe. Chuck Finley, I don't know if he's got a modeling career. He's got a pretty good pitching career going, though. Cards up 4-1. Drew Goodman, George Frazier, as we go to the top of the 6th inning at Coors Field. Let's take a look at our Nextel question. George, don't give it away this time.
All right, who is it?
You're on a little bit of a run. You've answered 2 in a row correctly. Who holds the major league record for most at-bats in a season without a home run? Kansas City's Willie Wilson, the Rockies' Juan Pierre, St. Louis's Ozzie Smith, Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith, or Rabbit Moranville? He was very quick, Rabbit Moranville. Victor Santos, whose last appearance was in a starting role, back in the bullpen for his 20th appearance. He's walked 18 in 18 innings. That's not good. The strikeout per inning pitched is good.
Well, he worked so much on developing the split finger here in this ballpark, because he utilized that when he was in the big leagues with the Detroit Tigers, and then as he was in AAA, he did it again. And I think that's something that maybe he worked too hard on, because he's got an excellent fastball. I mean, it's 92, 93, and when it's down in the zone, he's very effective. But you can't work behind in the count. You got to work ahead in this ballpark. Good sinker here, even with Finley at the plate. They're able to retire Finley, get the first out of the inning, and control the offense now as you work back to the top of the order.
St. Louis again short-handed tonight. Fernando Vina, their everyday second baseman, not with the club for personal reasons. J.D. Drew was up in Vail at the Stedman Hawkins clinic getting his knee looked at today. He is with the club and is available to pinch hit, but they started Eduardo Perez in right field. Here is Miguel Cairo. Good guy to have come off your bench, and you will see Cairo in that pinch hitting role late in the ball games in October. Again, the magic number for St. Louis is 7. So to give you an idea of how much St. Louis is in good shape, I should say. Houston would have to go unbeaten the rest of the way, 12-0, and even if they did, St. Louis could win the division by going 7-6.
Houston trails Milwaukee right now in the 9th on the road in Milwaukee, 5-3.
Not so much looks like for them going unbeaten the rest of the way. Uribe handles this one as well, too quickly gone.
5-4 we've been told in the top of the 9th. There's 2 outs. There's Mike Dejean in to close out the ball game. San Diego over Arizona in the 2nd, 3-0.
I have another trivia question for you. You have to answer it quickly. Remember earlier I mentioned that 5 sons of off the Big Red Machine made the big leagues? Eduardo Perez being one. Griffey.
Rose.
That makes 6 actually. I was
so you blew it. So now we don't have the right answer.
Well, no,
anyway.
I
there
have
might
the right
be more.
answer. I have the right answer. I forgot. Petey just
trying?
made it for a cup of coffee last year.
Let me tell you what. When you strap on a uniform and see the national anthem, you're in the big leagues.
You're absolutely.
I don't care if it's for like a half a cocoa.
Okay, that's 6 then. Getting a guy who had a nice little major league career. A couple of guys.
I'm not through guessing yet. You're looking it up in the book. Give me a chance.
I remember. It was short-term memory.
So who do we have? We have Perez, Griffey, Rose.
Yeah. There's 3 more. There's 2 outs, George. We're not carrying this over to future ball game.
You read it in the book. You're acting like you had this locked in your memory bank.
Yeah.
So who are the others?
Lee May Jr.
Okay.
Ed Sprague Jr.
Okay.
Brian McRae.
You had to think for a minute.
No, because Brian McRae was the most prominent of the 3 you had left out. Because Brian had a nice little major league career.
Had a great career. Probably should still be playing.
Now in our business. Three balls and a strike on Tony Perez's son, Eduardo. Strike 2. Eduardo broke into the big leagues in '93 for the first time with California. He's an All-American at Florida State. Helped lead the Seminoles to the College World Series in '91. See how big he is. He could really run when he first broke into pro ball. Fly ball right field. Larry Walker with the long strides in fair ground gets over and makes the play. A 1-2-3 inning for Victor Santos. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning. St. Louis leading 4-1. 4-1 the score. St. Louis scored early and often in this baseball game. 3 in the first, picked off another in the third. Our next You Make the Call. Who holds the major league record for most at-bats in a season without a home run? Was it Wilson, Pierre Smith, or Rabbit Moranville? I'll go with Willie Wilson. And the answer is Rabbit Moranville. 672 at-bats back in 1922. He did hit 28 career home runs, just not that year. 28 career home runs and over 10,000 at-bats. He had 2,600 hits. Gabe Kapler at the plate, and a new man in right field, Eli Marrero, the versatile one for St. Louis, and Tony La Russa. See if the Rockies can get to Chuck Finley here. Won't happen in the first at bat. Kapler has flown to Pujols. By the way, this year, Juan Pierre has not hit a home run in 548 at bats. Last year, he hit 2. Helton walked and scored the Rockies' only run in the first. He came around on a Walker double. Todd sitting on 99 RBIs. Our direct moment brought to you by Geico Direct. Losing is something you never get used to. Personally, I need to figure out what I can do to help out. Todd Helton. This is one of the things, in addition to team success, that will motivate him in the offseason, is the fact that his power numbers were down, his extra base hit numbers down significantly from last year. I'll make the excuse for him. I think that back really bothered him in the middle 2 months of the summer. He was unable to drive the baseball, but refused to come out of the lineup.
Well, I like his comment in the paper, where he made his statement. We still have pride. We're still breathing. We have a pulse. And we're here to finish out the season strong. Truly one of the guys in the big leagues that the front of the name on that jersey means a lot. He plays the game right.
Walker at 344 will not win his 4th batting crown in the last 5 years. By the way.
Oh, by the way.
I was scooting around the dish last night, and I was watching the Giants and Dodgers. You cannot tell me now that Barry Bonds not the MVP of this league. I mean, he completely changes the whole game. Every move Jim Tracy made last night had something to do with Bonds' presence. Edmonds will catch this for the 2nd out. And then they bring in, with first base open, they bring in Jesse Orosco to pitch to him. He throws him 3 straight sliders, George. It's 2-1. Tries to sneak the fastball by him. Bad idea.
Yeah, he hit a home run.
Yeah.
That's why baseball is such a great game. There's so many opinions that can be delivered.
Yeah.
Some right, some wrong.
Yeah.
Casey.
372, by the way, now.
Casey from Colorado Springs says, why is a strikeout a K? It's a symbol for a strikeout. Pretty simple answer.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's a great question. Why don't we write a big S up there?
Honestly, you remember Henry Chadwick, Drew?
I remember the name.
Yeah, sure you do. It was in 1861 when he invented the scoring system. He developed a series of letter symbols and selected the K for the strikeout.
You know why I remember the name? When we were at the Hall of Fame, there was something about him.
You're really reaching, and you read that.
I did. Chadwick also invented the box score, George. Did you know that?
Well, if he invented the scoring system, I would guess that he probably had something to do with the box score, Drew.
See, nothing gets by you.
By the way, if you want to catch all the coolest savings around town, it's the last coupon checkbook in a series of 3, courtesy of Bank One.
They'll be given out against this Cardinals tomorrow night, September the 18th. 7:05, gates at 5:05. Tickets available, Coors Field Ticket Office, 1-800-388-ROCK. King Soopers, the dugout stores. Or just go online with the Colorado Rockies.com.
Hard on the ground, but right at Edgar Renteria. He flips to Miguel Cairo, and the Rockies are done in the 6th. We'll go to the 7th. We've been locked in at 4-1 since the 3rd. 4-1, St. Louis leading the Rockies. Victor Santos will continue on. He'll face Jim Edmonds, Albert Pujols, and Scott Rowland here in the top of the 7th inning.
Santos and Fuentes both have done a nice job in their 2 innings of relief work. Retired, 6 of 7 faced, only hit given up to Martinez by Fuentes. Fuentes an inning and a hit and 3 strikeouts. Another strong inning for Brian Fuentes, and strong inning for Santos in the 6th. The Cardinals put 3 on the board in the 1st, 1 in the 3rd. They hold a 4-1 lead. Scott Rowland with a home run tonight in this ball game. His 25th home run.
You know what St. Louis has? They have a quiet confidence about them. And though they won't say it publicly, I think they believe that they're going to be a big factor in October. I think most people look at the Braves and look at the Arizona Diamondbacks in the National League and think that it's got to be one of those 2 teams. Base hit for Edmonds to lead off the 7th.
Well, this swing, pretty patented swing. A guy that just gets in great position, wide stance here, the legs, hands rock, and just fire through the zone. A good job, as Edmonds always has done. And a guy that you'd mentioned earlier, power numbers down a little bit for Edmonds as far as RBIs. 78 on the year, 26 home runs. His average, 305 coming into the ball game.
And he's got a mini 6-game hitting streak going. Pujols.
Hit and run was on.
He was protecting Edmonds.
The right side of that infield with Butler over to cover the bag. I mean, the hold is enormous. Trying to take advantage of it, getting the 1st and 3rd situation with Rowland coming up. Remember, when you come to Coors Field, they have all kinds of new security rules of what you can bring in and the size of the bag that you can bring in. So if you have any questions, call 303 Rockies or jump online at ColoradoRockies.com for all the information concerning the new security rules, not just at Coors Field, but all Major League Baseball ballparks.
That's going to get in the hole. Base hit for Pujols. First and second, nobody out, and Scott Rowland coming to the plate. He's 2 for 3, including a 2-run home run. Baseball fans, Taco Bell has a plan to take care of your hunger for the summer. 39-cent beef tacos after 9 p.m. No limit whether you get 2 or 10. It's 39 after 9 only at Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. You gotta love Taco Bell. I mean, they keeping this summer promotion going well into the autumn. I know it's still summer according to the calendar, but it is fall out.
They're buying a little bit of time now. Jimmy Wright's going out after a couple of back-to-back base hits. They're going to go down to the bullpen. It looks like Flores had started to go down, and they're going to switch it over. Merker will now get loose. Try to get it going. Now you talk to Alomar, what you're trying to accomplish with Scott Rowland at the plate. Rowland this year at home, 11 home runs, 255 average. Out on the road, 13 home runs, 266 average. But with men in scoring position, he's second on their ball club with 8 home runs and a 285 average. Pujols leads that category in home runs with 15 with men in scoring position.
Rockies looking at turn 2 with Rolen at the plate. And this ball's popped up.
Notice one thing, they stay away from hard stuff on him. They didn't give him a fastball to hit. Threw the split, and then they threw the off-speed pitch.
Tino Martinez 1 for 2 and a walk.
And you're wondering at home whether Merker's ready to go or not. He's been firing down in the bullpen.
He gets
didn't
ready
have a
pretty
lot of
quick, doesn't he?
Yeah, but didn't have a lot of time to get ready for this left-handed bat. In this situation, if he was, I think Hurtil would have been to the mound. Waiting on him to give the indication to Freddie that he's ready to go. Behind 2-0 now on Martinez.
Nice job by Sandy Alomar smothering the baseball. Rockies will see Andy Bennis tomorrow. And Jason Simon-Tachi on Thursday. He'll go against Jason Jennings. Denny Stark will pitch tomorrow night. I think if you're St. Louis, George, and you look ahead to Arizona in the playoffs in all probability, if you can knock off one of the two big two, if you can beat Johnson or Schilling one time, all of a sudden you have a huge advantage.
Well, and they've got
Morris go out and do it.
And they've got the guys that can do that. I mean, Morris is a guy that can go out and beat them. His record indicates he's one of the best. I think he could beat him. Well, obviously the Giants went and beat the two big guys for the first time. It had happened in the series in Arizona. They'd be Schilling and Johnson back to back, so it can be done. That's where you have to start to rely on other people within the rotation. And again, I mean, Bennis has been very good for this ball club. 14 starts after a lot of injuries. He's 5-4.
The guy who's going to retire.
Yeah, Morris is at 16-8 right now. Samatachi is at 10-5. Jamie Wright, a guy down in their bullpen that they got right before the trade deadline. There's another that they could go to, but Morris and Bennis are the two veteran guys. Chuck Finley is another that would match up well, because now with the left-hander on the mound, you might negate a little bit of what Gonzalez can do against you. And Finley, two big bats. Barrazo, another big bat on the left side. When you have Finley.
Runners going with one out on the 3-2 pitch, and it's fouled off.
Bennis, how good has Bennis been? In his last 10 starts, Bennis has only given up 2 runs or less in those last 10 starts. Give you any indication at all of the job he has done with numerous knee problems.
And their bullpen has been terrific. It's one of the top bullpens in the National League. Santos tries a pick, and Edmonds gets back safely. Martinez, a strikeout. Now Edmonds has problems. And Uribe will tag him out. A strike him out, throw him out, double play to conclude the top of the 7th. It is 4-1, however. The Cardinals still leading. Now for a sports update, let's go to our Fox Sports Net studio. Rockies have been hailed to 3 hits by Chuck Finley. And Finley continuing to throw the baseball as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. It'll be Butler, Alomar, and Uribe scheduled. Here's our television schedule, brought to you by Budweiser. What's on tap? Tomorrow, the Cards on Fox Sports Net. Pregame show 6:30. No television Thursday. Then Friday, Arizona comes to town. We'll be on the air again on Fox Sports Net at 6:30 Sunday afternoon with the D-backs of Bob Brenly, 1 o'clock in the afternoon on WB2. And that will be the final home game of the season. Friday night's fireworks night, by the way. Walt Jocketty, Bob Gebhardt down on the lower left.
Well, Walt's done a nice job. There's another guy that works inside of that front office. Of course, everybody recognizes it. Bob Gebhardt, Walt Jocketty on the front row, sitting down. That there's a guy named Jerry Walker that works close with Walt Jocketty, and again, Jerry Walker was a special assistant in the Yankee organization, was a general manager of the Detroit Tigers. Of course, Geb, longtime assistant with the Minnesota Twins, and then here is a general manager. And what Walt has done is positioned a lot of these guys as talent evaluators. Geb was a longtime pitching coach at the minor league level in the Montreal system before he farm director and eventually climbed the ladder. And Jerry Walker, much of the same. And so both of these guys are guys that go out and make a lot of decisions within their ideas on who to acquire as a pitcher. Hey, you talk about Chuck Finley and what he's done, Drew, and you look back at active guys right now with the most wins in the big leagues. Clemens at 292, Maddox at 270, Glavine at 241, Randy Johnson 222, and then you have Chuck Finley at 198. It's pretty impressive. People don't realize, they don't put him into the category of these guys of active pitchers as how much he's dominated in the American League, and now it's starting to spill over into the National League.
I don't think if you said name the top 5 winners active right now, I think the top 4 you'd probably get. I don't know if you'd have guessed that Chuck Finley was number 5. That's a strike to Alomar.
Well, and Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling, neither one have started to win till the latter part of their careers. I looked it up one day. Johnson was like 98 and 30 after age 35. He's turned 39. Schilling after age 30 has won a majority of his games.
Butler at first, which is the 3rd hit for Tripp, 4th hit for the Rockies. Now Alomar delivers a base hit. So the Rockies have the first 2 on here in the 7th. With the Uribe coming up. Get your NFL fix a day earlier with the most outrageous, unpredictable NFL pregame show you've ever seen. Introducing the NFL show on Fox Sports Net with Michael Irvin, Tony Saragusa, and comedian Tommy Davidson. Pregame shows may never be the same. Start your NFL weekend the night before kickoff. The NFL show presented by the U.S. Postal Service. 11:45 Saturday night. Catch it again 8:30 in the morning on Sunday.
Well, Dave Duncan, the longtime pitching coach and associate of Tony La Russa's all the way back to the Oakland days as their main pitching coach, now has been in St. Louis with him for every season. Matheny and Finley talking it over now. I mean, Finley's only got 78 pitches as he was working here in the 7th inning.
Jeff Facero is getting loose down in the bullpen.
Right, and you look down at their bullpen. Facero's a situational guy in the 6th, 7th inning, along with Klein. Klein's more in the 8th inning. Everybody knows who's going to close the ball games out. It's going to be Isringhausen. He's been their closer since he has become healthy again. Veers is a guy that's going to work in the 7th, 8th against right-handers. An outstanding split finger. Former Rocky.
Another former Rocky who's done well, Luther Hackman.
Hackman came on to make 5 consecutive starts when their starting rotation was banged up so badly. Jamie Wright made a few, but with Morris coming back and throwing after his injuries, Wright goes to the bullpen.
Actually, they have 3 former Rockies down there. Veers, Hackman,
and Wright.
And 4.
Jamie Wright.
They also have
Rick White. Shumpert in the on-deck circle. He would pinch hit for Flores. It was a couple of good innings in relief. Excuse me, Fuente. Excuse me, Santos. I'll get it right in the leadoff.
Matheny just couldn't quite get there.
Got to be able to find the ball immediately as soon as it comes off of the bat. As he gets over here, nears the grass area, quite a ways out of the reach of Matheny to even get there to make the play, but yet dives. We just want to keep Keith Schultz busy tonight in the visitors' locker room.
Base hit for Uribe. Here comes Butler around third. It's a 4-2 game. 3 consecutive hits for the Rockies off Finley, who had been almost untouchable till now in the bottom of the 7th.
Just got on top of a baseball, drove it to left field. That brings Butler home. It also is the 49th RBI. Career high set a year ago by Uribe with 54.
Well, Finley's night is done. Here comes Tony La Russa. Chuck Finley will go 6+ tonight. He is responsible for the 2 men on base. La Russa will take out Finley, who rolled into this 7th inning with a 3-hitter. 4-2. Finley departs with his team on top. With the Bugs and the fans, 4-2 St. Louis at Coors Field tonight. Drew Goodman and George Frazier. The new pitcher for the Cardinals is 39-year-old Jeff Fassero, who was acquired in late August from the Chicago Cubs, where he had led the Cubs in appearances this year. So altogether, this is his 68th time to the hill in 2002.
Yeah, 5-6 record with the Cubs, but a very high earned run average at 618. But he has pitched very well for the Cardinals. Matter of fact, his last 7 appearances over 7 2/3 innings, he has not given up a hit. So Tony La Russa going to the hot hand, even though Shumpert is the guy in the on-deck circle, a right-handed hitter, to face the left-handed Fassero. Fassero on the year, in his career against Shumpert, 1 for 4 lifetime, a .250 average. He did not give up a home run, and sometimes a change of scenery for a guy out of your bullpen will change results. So obviously that's been the case for Fassero with those 7 2/3 hitless innings. It's not necessarily true that he had to work on a certain pitch when he got here. He had to work on being in the strike zone and catch a few breaks and have them go his way. I think that's what's happened to Fassero so far.
Shumpert has been a very productive pinch hitter this year for Colorado. And overall, he's 5 for his last 10 at the plate. Alomar at second, Uribe at first. Uribe just drove in Butler with the Rockies' 2nd run. Good bunt by Shumpert. 1 play for Fassero. It's first. And now the Rockies can tie it up with a base hit. And they'll have 2 cracks at it. First with Jason Romano and then with Gabe Kapler. Shumpert does his job. Slider from Facero, 0-1. Romano's flown to center. A little cue shot to the first baseman. Actually, I shouldn't say cue shot. He actually tried to bunt his way on, and Tino Martinez fielded it, tagged him out. Also struck out in the fifth. Romano was 2 for 4, including a triple in his last start. Triple would be nice here. Well, the Rockies would take a single.
Yeah, right now you take anything. Shorten the gap a little bit. 4-2 ball game. Just get it up in the air. Don't leave it in the infield. And right now the Cardinals, they just want outs. They've got the middle infield back. Roland and Martinez even with their bag. First and third.
I'll tell you something else, George, and you know this to be very true. From a hitter's standpoint, Jason Romano may get 40, 50, 60 at-bats here in the waning weeks of the season. And part of the evaluation will be for his numbers, but part of the evaluation in addition to that will be, how did he do 7th inning on? How did he do late in ball games, given opportunities to come up in clutch situations?
When you're trying to plug things in, and first impressions obviously are huge, but as a young player like this, what advise you more than anything of how you respond to these situations is advise you that further look in spring training. There's a lot of guys that come up in September and they may hit 230, 240 and hit a home run, or they may pitch 4 shutout innings out of the bullpen, and a manager keeps that in the back of his mind. So when he gets to spring training, you're not the first guy's cut. He may want to take a longer look at you, put you in different situations. This time in September pays dividends in March and spring trainings for younger players. And I think it allows you, if you could take a guy like Romano and you could stick him in a utility role, and it's the minimum salary, 300, whatever it is, now that allows you to go spend more money, maybe on a position player or a pitcher as a free agent. And that's what he's got to be working for right now. And he's proved to me, he plays center field, he plays short, third, and second. And that's a rarity.
Well, he's got a couple of qualities. He can play D, he's versatile. And this ball, they're going to come home with it in the dirt. Alomar safe at home.
Bad throw by Roland.
Bad throw by Scott Rowland. He threw it off balance in the dirt, and he had more time to fire a strike to Mike Matheny. And it's a 4-3 game. Romano at first, Uribe at third, still only 1 out. Good idea by Rowland, poor execution.
Well, he's got a lot of time. Alomar's your runner. This ball's hit fairly hard. A 2-hopper right at Rowland. The defense, he's a foot behind the bag, but he tries to throw it on the run. Off balance throw. The short hops, pops out of the glove. It's out front. They got to reach back for it. And that allowed Alomar to be safe because the ball beats him 8-10 feet in front of the bag.
All he had to do was get the ball there in the air. And Rowland rushed it, threw it off balance.
Yeah, a mistake you don't see him make very often.
No, he's a good defender. Kapler hits it through on the hit and run. Romano spins twice as he goes to third. We're all tied at 4 as Uribe crosses.
I don't know if you noticed it all. It happened at second base with Renteria. He got in the way in the advancement of Romano coming around second. They immediately gave him third base. How about that by Clint Hurdle? With first and third, they throw the hit and run on, and it allows the base hit to get through the right side by Kapler.
Well, the Cardinals, as we talked about earlier, have not fared well here in Denver. Go back to 96.
Back a few years. It goes back to 1996. Vanderwall with the big home run off of Dennis Eckersley. A big moment in Rockies history. 7 2/3 hitless innings by Facero, so the base hit by Gabe Kapler breaks that streak. There's still 1 out in the inning, and the Rockies to have a chance to go ahead in this ball game with Helton at the plate. the play on the ball hit by Kapler to and the ball, excuse me, hit by Romano. They have ruled it as a fielder's choice E5 on the throw. There's no RBI. Just the 13th error of the year by Rowland at third base.
Todd Helton had a pitch to hit there. 0-2. Todd Helton can give the Rockies the lead. He can also give himself his 100th RBI of the year.
Has a 7-game lead in Houston, losing tonight 5-4 in Milwaukee. It's a final now. Makes things a little bit easier. You don't lose any ground by it. Milwaukee a 5-4 winner. San Diego in the 5th, 3-1 over Arizona. San Francisco 5-2 over LA in the 3rd.
And the Dodgers won last night. Dead heat in the wild card race. One and two on Helton. Line drive, double play. Well, that is the worst break for the Rockies. Helton turned on it right at Tino Martinez, who was holding on, gave Kapler, and he just caught it and tagged the bag. But the Rockies get 3 to tie it up. Tonight's game on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Budweiser with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you. And by Checker Auto Parts, the place to start for parts. On a beautiful night in Denver. I'm sorry, George.
No, I just
a
gonna
productive
comment.
7th inning.
Again, the bullpen, though, is a key in this. 3 innings, 3 scoreless innings. They gave up 3 hits, but they struck out 4. Santos and Fuentes did their job. Now it's up to Merker to hold it right here as you go to the top of the 8th in a 4-4 ball game. I think the more Merker's on the mound, the better strength he has and the confidence he has in his slider, which was an out pitch he used in the first half of the year to have success. Renteria greets him with a base hit to left field on a fastball, middle half of the plate, up. Saturday, September 21st, easy for me to say, is Scouts Day at Coors Field. If your scout troop has not gotten their tickets for the Rockies-Arizona Diamondback game, call today for ticket availability. 303-312-2224.
4-4 game. Renteria at first. Mike Matheny at the plate. Renteria's career high in steals, 41 in his final season at Florida, 98. The World Series season, he had 32 steals. This ball's bunted in the air. Chance for double play at first, and then the throw goes into right field as Helton got tied up with Renteria, and he moves into scoring position. Excuse me, it was Butler who got tied up with Renteria.
Well, and I think it was a foot race, and I think it may have been one of those instances Merker took the gamble to make the throw to first base. That's what I'm talking about. Great play by Merker to get off of the mound, pop to his feet in a hurry, then the throw down. Butler had come all the way over from second base on the coverage of the bunt, which is where he should be. Now watch Renteria. He's going to take a few more steps. You're going to see Butler come out of your picture in a foot race here to get there. Then the throw behind. I mean, tough play for Butler to make.
So Taguchi is the pinch hitter. Now Merker must step off, even though he didn't pick. With his shortstop out of position, steps off the back, and Taguchi now step back in. 0-1 on Taguchi, the pinch hitter. First year in the big leagues for Taguchi after a long career in the Japanese league.
At 33 years old, he is the first native Japanese player to wear a Cardinal uniform.
One ball and 2 strikes. I'd say Taguchi, looking at his Japanese numbers, a solid yet unspectacular career in Japan. Hit 300 once, primarily hitting the 270 range, 275, 280, with minimal power, usually 8-9 home runs, and did not steal a ton of bases. 3-2. Cairo is next, then Perez.
Well, from the looks of the stance, it looks like a guy that chokes up a couple inches on the bat, short stride, tries to make contact, hit behind runners, has good speed. I mean, he made his major league debut in center field when Edmonds went down. Finished the year in Double-A and helped their ball club into the playoffs. Smart move by Merker, even nobody there at the bag. You want to hold Renteria on as close as you can in a 4-4 ball game.
Very good arms in the outfield with Kapler in left tonight. Romano in center has a strong arm. And you know what kind of arm Larry Walker has in right field. Back up the middle and on through, base hit. Here comes Romano. Here comes Renteria to the plate, and it's going to be cut off by Helton. And now they have a play on Taguchi. They got him hung up. And Uribe actually makes the tag on Taguchi. But St. Louis takes the lead as the pinch hitter Taguchi comes through in the 8th inning. And this has been consistent of St. Louis throughout September. They've won 10 games, and 10 different players have had the game-winning hit.
And they're very good at coming from behind. A ball club that believes that they can go score. Now, Helton makes that cut because he feels like there's no chance for a play at the plate, and he can see out of the corner of the eye Taguchi taking off around first base. Here's a look at Renteria. Now, this ball hit on the ground and hit slow. It's a long way for Romano to come to center field. I mean, I don't think there's a contest to get him at the plate at all. Cairo with a bunt single up the third baseline. Caught Zeal back deep behind the bag with 2 outs. Was able to dump it, and by the time Merker got there, just not a play on Cairo. Clint Hurdle's going to come out. Lowe's been warming up the right-hander down in the bullpen. And you don't think in this situation that Tony La Russa would go to his bench. He has Marrero at the plate. You have Edmonds, Pujols, and Rowan. All right-handers except for Edmonds.
We'll come back 5-4 St. Louis. Sal Taguchi knocking in the go-ahead run in the top of the 8th. 5-4 St. Louis leading. And the new pitcher for Colorado will be Sean Lowe.
Well, Lowe's done a pretty nice job, I think, for the Rockies, coming into some tough situations. He pitched over in Pittsburgh, pitched very well at times. But he was a guy that lost confidence in his slider. Well, he's gotten that back to go along with that hard sinker, velocity there. Sometimes, just sometimes, change of scenery. For whatever reason, Pittsburgh released Lowe. It was surprising. Pete Vukovich, special assistant, mentioned it to him today. Lowe was released, and he said, "You got to be kidding that kid. I can't believe they released this kid. He had put up some pretty good numbers and really had carried the bullpen at times this year."
4th game for the Rockies, and he looks. He throws a strike to Eduardo Perez with Miguel Cairo at first. Actually, it's Eli Marrero. Of course, Perez came out of the game. That was a couple innings ago. I'll catch up. Came in for defensive purposes 2 innings ago. First plate appearance for Marrero. And Marrero greets Lowe with a line single to left. Cairo will stop at second. And that'll bring Edmonds to the plate. Edmonds 1 for 2 and a couple of walks tonight. He scored a run. On a little bit of a roll. 6-game hitting streak, 9 for 20 over those 6 games. And Lowe shows him a fastball up and in. Rockies in the bottom of the 8th will have Walker, Zeal, and Butler. Playoff contenders or playoff locks the rest of the way for Colorado. Played great against the Dodgers, winning 3 of 4. The Saturday ball game got away from them 16-3. Other than that, they played very good baseball. They pitched well. They played very good defense, in particular against the Dodgers. Arizona comes in here this weekend, and it's back to LA for 2 and 4 in Arizona to finish the regular season. It's going to get over the dugout. And a fan's error has it rolled back into the Cards dugout, where Andy Bennis will retrieve it and hopefully toss it back over the top. And that's what just happened off camera. Yes. Nice job. Here's the 2-1 to Edmonds. You know, his swing looks a lot like a guy who just retired recently, Will Clark.
Has similar swings, and I think that's just because Edmonds wants to generate so much power now and he can hit the ball out of the ballpark. He's asked to do that more. But you're right, same type of swing. Just always looked like Edmonds' helmet never fit his head. Did you notice that?
Who, Edmonds?
Yeah. I mean, it looks like his helmet doesn't fit. And it's down over his eyes. And he's got a pretty good conversation right now with Alomar. I'm asking him, how could you take that pitch? Because he said, because it was a ball. 3-2 count on Edmonds. Well, runner in scoring position. He's 1 for 3 lifetime against Lowe.
That was a foul ball in self-defense. 2 on, 2 out, 3 and 2 on Edmonds. Marrero at first, Miguel Cairo ahead of him on the base path. Thirteen hits for the Cardinals tonight, just 7 for the Rockies. Both teams have committed an error.
The Rockies put 3 of those 7 hits up on in the 7th inning. 4 of the 7 came in the 7th inning when they scored 3 runs. Finley was dominant.
And then gave up 3 straight hits to open the 7th inning, and he was gone.
And Facero could not close the door. Allowed the ball game to be tied up, but Facero will be the winner if it stays the way it is now.
Anaheim, Oakland checking in on that race in the American League, scoreless in the 6th. Ball 4 to Edmonds, and they're loaded up for Pujols. Second time tonight, Albert Pujols will get a shot with the bases drunk. Rockies have now walked 5 in the ball game. I guarantee if you look back the ball games where the Rockies have walked 4 or more, their record, as you would expect, is probably not real good.
Not just Rockies, but anybody in baseball.
Yeah, anybody in baseball. You're right.
This ballpark, though, you got to be careful. The walks will come back to haunt you in a ball game. Tonight, the Rockies have walked 4 in a ball game. 1 of the 4 have come on to score. A 2-out walk in the first to Edmonds. Scored on a double by Pujols, and then Pujols scored on a 2-run shot by Rowland. Keon Evans at 1-1.
And the Rockies are 11th in the National League in walks issued. Top team in fewest walks, not surprisingly, the Arizona Diamondbacks. I say not surprisingly because Kurt Schilling doesn't walk anybody.
Well, and then I would say followed probably by the Atlanta Braves.
You would figure they'd be in the mix somewhere, and actually they're 8th. That's a bit of a surprise. Second, the Montreal Expos. This ball lined down the left field line. It'll score 2. Safe at third, Pujols to second. And it is 7-4. Now, Pujols the first time did not come through with the bases loaded. This time he does. And after not having an RBI in 7 ball games, he has 3 this evening at the expense of Colorado.
Yeah, look at the pitch, though. That pitch up, when you see Sandy reach back for it, that pitch up, then it just allows the strength. It's an off-speed pitch. You get Pujols out on the front foot. He'd already shredded, but the hand stayed back, and then he exploded on the baseball. 2 quick runs in this ball game. Now you got second and third at 2 outs. you get the opportunity to face Mr. Rowland, who's homered to left, singled to left center, struck out swinging, and popped out to short. It's 2 for 4 on the evening with a couple of RBIs.
Yeah, third base position has always been, well, I shouldn't say always, but for the most part, it's been a power position. And right now, this is not to take a shot at Scott Rowland. Scott Rowland's a terrific ball player, but there aren't that many terrific third basemen in terms of guys who put up power numbers in the National League right now.
Robin Ventura, the Yankees in the American League, is a guy that hits the ball out of the ballpark there occasionally. I think it's helped being in Yankee Stadium, but not to the numbers this guy's done. 99 RBIs, 25 home runs.
But who else in the National
and has
League?
had a down year. He has not had an up year on it. To where he's a guy that would drive it out of the ballpark. Yeah, you think a third baseman right now, there isn't any. Nick Zeal's hit 16, 17 home runs, 75 RBIs, 76 RBIs on the year.
Rowland walks, and the bases are loaded. And here comes Tino Martinez from the left side.
And it's going to be up to low too, because they haven't got anybody up down in the bullpen yet to get loose. I mean, there's people starting to hustle around down there. It looks like it's going to be the right-hander Justin Spire, could be, or no, the lefty Flores who's going to go get loose.
Martinez, the 9th man to come to the plate in the 8th inning for St. Louis. The inning began all even at 4. It's now 7-4 Cardinals. Ball is ripped deep right field, and see ya later. Grand slam, Tino Martinez. And St. Louis has completely blown the cover off of this one. '19th home run for Martinez this year. He jumps the RBI total to 72. 10th career slam in the career of Tino Martinez. Forgive the redundancy there.
High fastball. Behind in the count. And the result's not what you want to see. An 11-4 ball game now.
Renteria. Good play by Uribe to close the 8th. 7 spot put on the board in the 8th inning by St. Louis. You're up 11-4. Don't forget the guy who initially gave them the lead, Taguchi, and he's greeted by the Cards. Time to check the Pennzoil protection play of the day. How about a strike him out, throw him out? St. Louis moving the runners with 1 out on a 3-2 pitch. Alomar throws to third. Great catch by Zeal. Jim Edmonds is hung up, trying to go the other direction. He flips to Uribe for the out. Good defensive play by the Rockies, and it's rewarded with our Pennzoil protection play of the day. We're driving protection. Well, Tino Martinez, another one of those big veteran bats in the St. Louis lineup. Rockies, just a few minutes ago, all even with the Cardinals at 4, and then an explosion of 7 runs in the 8th. The grand slam from Tino Martinez, again, his 10th in his career, and it's 11-4. Steve Klein is the new pitcher for St. Louis.
Well, this is a guy that likes a lot of work. And he's a specialist against left-handers. A lot like Mike Myers, that was here previously. What they hope Fuentes can do against left-handers. Klein is a guy that loves the baseball. Throw every day. Close for Montreal. Had over 14 saves for Montreal a couple of years ago before his trade to the St. Louis Cardinals. Remember the other day we showed you the hat of Gagne and the way he is so superstitious about wearing the same hat through the whole year. Well, if you look at the hat of Steve Klein, of Klein's hat, it is so dirty you can hardly tell.
Well, Steve Klein, despite there being a 7-run cushion, is asked just to get Larry Walker. He does his job. I'll tell you about the pitching change when we come back. Rick White is the new pitcher for St. Louis. He spent more than half the season with the Rockies. Then he was released, picked up by the Cardinals, went to AAA, worked out minor kink in his form, and he's been terrific for the Cardinals. Has not given up an earned run yet in more than 12 innings.
Double switch comes into effect into this. Apparently he came into the ball game when he pinch hit.
Yep.
Taguchi's, we didn't introduce that he had stayed in the ball game.
So Rick White will face Todd Zeile.
Well, obviously getting out of altitude made a huge difference for White.
Ball hit up the middle. And Renneria makes the play on Zeile off the bat. You thought it was a hit. But Renneria showing the great range.
That's one thing he does have, a lot of range. All the way over behind second base, gathers himself, able to make the throw over. Well bounced, well played by Renteria, and plenty of time to get Zeile. Well, come out and experience the action when the Rockies take on the Diamondbacks September 20th. Be one of the first 30,000 fans through the gates, and you'll receive a 3D glasses and sit back and watch the Rockies light up the sky. Spectacular fireworks displayed courtesy of Popeye's Chicken. That action against the Diamondbacks. 7:05 start, 5:05. The gates open. Coors Field ticket office. The Rockies dugout. King Supers. 1-800-388-ROCK or just go online with the Colorado Rockies.com.
The knees for a strike, 2-1. Novice Edge riding classes are taking place at Rocky Mountain Harley-Davidson now. Call 303-703-2885 to find out when the next class begins. Rocky Mountain Harley-Davidson, a way of life. Pop fly to Taguchi in left.
You're gonna miss it!
No, he won't miss it. Right now, 1-2-3 inning. Klein and White combined to set the Rockies down. 8 complete at Coors Field, 11-4 St. Louis. They're hanging in there tonight. 11-4 St. Louis. Making a bunch of runs on the Rockies. 11 runs on 15 hits tonight. Randy Flores is the new pitcher, making his 5th appearance in a Rockies uniform.
Well, what he's got to do, he's just got to work ahead in ball games. I mean, he's got to throw strikes and be able to deal with a couple of pitches. And I talked to a lot of guys that are advanced scouts and guys that evaluate the minor leagues, special assistant to GMs, guys in the farm system. And they said when he had his most success, he relied on that cut fastball on the inner side of the plate and the outer side to right-handers. He was able to backdoor that pitch, and he had a lot of success with it. I don't think he's used that to his advantage as much at the big league level now as he did at the minor league level.
Mike Matheny will lead it off against Flores. Skip up into the track, good play. They're now in the 8th inning in Oakland, still scoreless, Oakland and Anaheim. Seattle in the 7th, tied with Texas 2-2.
San Francisco 5-2 over LA.
In the 5th.
Pittsburgh 11-3 over Cincinnati. Everybody on the edge of the seat waiting on that score. New York over Chicago 3-1.
On the ground and on through the left side. So Matheny has his first hit of the night. And now everyone in the lineup, including Chuck Finley, who got his 3rd career hit tonight, have a positive mark in the book for St. Louis. Taguchi getting his 2nd at bat. He put the Cards ahead last inning with a bouncer up the middle. Made it 5-4. And at the time he said, okay, you know what? Rockies will be all right. 5-4. 6 more outs to go. By the time the inning ended, it was 11-4. That's a whole different deal.
Well, the bullpen did their job early in the ball game, and then Lowe giving up the grand slam. They'll put 7 runs on the board in the 8th for the Cardinals and an 11-4 deficit for the Rockies.
And that's going to drop for a base hit also. Taguchi's 2 for 2. Here comes Miguel Cairo for the 6th time tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those ball games that you get to the plate a lot. Your batting average will either climb or it will suffer greatly. He singled back in the 2nd inning. Flied to left, popped to short. Had a bunt single in the 8th. Started the ball game off with a ground ball to short.
Rockies have been out hit 17-7. Slow roller. There's one on the first, nearly in time. It'll be a 1st and 3rd situation with 1 out. That'll bring Eli Marrero to the plate again. Up the middle, could be 2. Marrero runs well. Uribe's dart to first in time. 4-6-3 on the turn. And we'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rockies looking for a monstrous bottom of the 9th, down by 7. Bottom of the 9th inning at Coors Field. The Rockies had come back from a 4-1 deficit, tied it at 4, but then they gave up a 7th spot in the top of the 8th. Mike Crudale is the new pitcher, making his 45th appearance for St. Louis. He's done a nice job for Tony La Russa. Opposition hitting in the 240s against him, George.
Tony La Russa, what he's marveled about is he just throws strikes. I mean, he's only walked 12, and he can do it with 3 pitches. Good fastball, sinking fastball. So he gets a lot of ground ball outs. He's a workhorse, a guy that likes the baseball. He's a guy that can throw a slider behind in the count, but he throws them all for strikes. You know, we saw that 12 walks so far on the year, 40+ strikeouts. 11 earned runs given up in 47 2/3 innings. All good numbers. When their bullpen had to be reshuffled with Isringhausen down and Veers had problems, was in and off the DL around the All-Star break, that it was imperative that they find people in the setup role. Crudell had taken advantage of that opportunity. This is the type of guy you need in your bullpen in games like this, whether you're up or down 11-4, to save Veers, to save Isringhausen, the guys that you want typically to throw in the 8th and 9th inning of ball games. Isringhausen in safe situations. And you notice La Russa not extending anybody in his bullpen. They have to win the first half of the race, and that is to go ahead and close out Houston Astros. But then everybody needs to be rested and focused when the second season starts. That's the playoffs the day after the regular season.
And they're in good position to get that done with a magic number of 6 with Houston's loss tonight. And assuming they hang on with the 7-run lead here, it'll drop down to 5 beginning play tomorrow. 2-0 on Alomar, who is 1 for 3 in the ball game. Scored a run in the 7th. Moss Glode is out on deck. He will evidently pinch hit for Juan Uribe. Crudell's a product of Santa Clara University. Spent 4 years there. Drafted in the 24th round. I always give the scouting department, and in particular the scout who signed a guy like Crudell, an attaboy when a 24th round pick makes the big leagues and has success.
Those guys have to create their own breaks. The guys in the top 5 rounds get the breaks handed to them until they prove they can't play. But guys, when you get drafted, really the 5th round beyond, you've got to make your own breaks. And you've got to show people, and you've got to throw well when those people are in town. And that's your developmental people. And you've got to have a manager that likes you and a farm director that likes you, that's constantly pushing you on the big league ball club to give you opportunities. And then when you do get the opportunity, you better capitalize on it.
For the first out tonight. Glode will hit here, and then Jack Cost will hit in the pitcher's spot. Glode hits it in the air to left field. Taguchi underneath, 2 gone. And now Jack Cost again will hit in the pitcher's spot. The slider on the outside corner for a strike. Denny Stark, Andy Bennis tomorrow will be on the air. 6:30 at the pregame show. Right here on Fox Sports Net. Stark trying to win his 11th ball game tomorrow against a guy who thought he was going to retire not all that long ago, Andy Bennis.
That's a pretty good run. You look at Stark and what he's done. 14-2 a year ago. In AAA, 252 earned run average at him. He turns around and comes back to the big leagues. Goes 10-3. It's not a bad couple of years. You start adding numbers up.
Nope.
Pretty impressive.
You bet. Huge swing and a miss from Jack Cust. He tried to drive in all 7 runs with that one swing. Two balls, 2 strikes. The way the crowd's reacting, I think you're in St. Louis. And looking around, the only folks that are left are dressed in red, and there it is. 11-4 the final. The Cards knock off the Rockies with that 7-run 8th. Pissarro gets the win, Merker the loss. We're back to the ballpark in a moment, but let's go to our studios across town. Again, the Rockies go down to the Cardinals 11-4.